simple Photoshop CS5 poster. So real quick, we're going to open up the final image to give you a little sneak preview of what we will be creating today. Here it is. Alright, you see we got plenty of elements, yet it's all simplifully bound. Yes, I just made up that word. Alright, so as always, first thing we're going to do is open up Photoshop with the following settings. We're going to go 2480 by 4250 at a resolution of 300. Big stuff, huh? Alright, to do that we hit Command or Control N. It's the keyboard shortcut. First thing we're going to do is hold down Alt, double click the layer to unlock it, double click the layer one more time to go into our layer styles. Let's apply a gradient overlay. Now let's change the style to radial and reverse that so we go from dark to light. So open up our gradient editor and the first color. Now I already have my colors picked out. These color codes will be in the description. So what you're going to do is just copy and paste the first one, come into color, paste it in here. As you can see, it's kind of a dark greenish gray. So the second one is going to go to our lighter green, paste it into the second color in our gradient. Perfect. Let's hit OK. OK, save that. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is work on our checkerboard type overlay. So we're going to go to a rectangle tool, make sure our color is set to black, scroll up to the top, and let's start in the top left. Just make kind of a little rectangle. Not too huge, but not too small at the same time. We're going to hit Command J to duplicate this. Go to our Move tool, Shift, hold down Shift, and slide it over. Alright, to about right there. Command J again, just duplicate, hold down Shift, and slide it over. These boxes are actually a little too big, so what I'm going to do is Shift click all of them, Command T to free transform, and just take the size of all of them down at the same time. And we're going to move this over. Alright, to select an individual box, we're just going to go up to the last one that we made, Command J one more time, and move it over. We want to get an equal distance in between each box. Now, to save some time, we're going to Shift click the top and the bottom layer, right or Control click and hit Duplicate Layers. Alright? Hold down Shift and bring that down, that way we bring it down uniformly. So let's give it about the same amount of spacing. We're going to duplicate this 2 more times. Alright, bring that down, same exact thing we did, and let's duplicate this once more and bring it down again. Now, to save even more time, we can actually duplicate all 4 of these rows and bring them down uniformly as well. And we do that by doing the same thing. With the last box we created, to the first box, hold down Shift, Control or right click, hit Duplicate Layers, and we're just going to bring every single last one of these boxes down. Alright, so now what we're going to do is go to the top box, Shift click to the bottom box, and we're going to hit Command E, which is going to merge and rasterize our layers. So, we left some space at the bottom, so let's just duplicate this entire thing. It's going to be way too much, but that is alright. And let's just bring it down enough to fill in the bottom. Alright, so let's rasterize both of these as well. Now, we have our checkerboard, but it is way too dark, so we're going to bring the opacity way down to about 4%. Alright, perfect. Create a new layer. As you can see, that did just bring out the checkerboard overlay, which is what it was supposed to do. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is kind of make some splotches, because I want the background to look like felt. And felt isn't one continuous color. It's got, just some light splotches on dark splotches. So what we're going to do to create that effect is we're going to go to our brush tool, and we're going to find just a regular old splatter brush. Now, I will list a few in the description. I'm not sure exactly which ones I'm using, but any of them will work. So we're going to start by, on our new layer, just splattering some white dots randomly across our composition. Nothing too fancy, and we're going to try another one just to add in a little bit of variety. I like that, but about right here. Alright, next thing we're going to do is go up to Filter. We're going to go Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're just going to blur the heck out of this thing. We're going to go blur crazy. So let's take it up to about 46 pixels. That looks good on our layer. And we're going to drop the opacity down because right now it's way too noticeable. So to about 24 will do. Alright, already that's looking great, but let's create a new layer. Make sure our foreground and background color are white and black. Hit X to set the foreground to black. We're going to go to our fill tool, fill paint bucket, whatever you want to call it, and we're just going to fill this entire layer with black. Now, we're going to go up to filter, noise, and add noise. Now we're going to want to use uniform and a monochromatic so we have that black and white speckle going on. So pump up the amount. I have mine set to around 230. Don't be real specific, but you know, we just want that speckle. So what we're going to do is go to our layer mode and change that to overlay. We're going to drop the opacity way down and drop our fill down as well. Already you can see the white splotches is still a little bit too strong, so we're going to take that down, not too far. Let's do 16% on the opacity. Alright, that's looking pretty good, but if you remember, it is more blue. Simple way of doing that, we are going to create a new adjustment layer and we're going to go down to photo filter just like in our last tutorial. We're going to use a cooling filter of 82, which will give us those nice blues. Alright, so now that we've finished our background, we can move on to working on our main image and bringing that into our composition. I downloaded this from online. I will put the link in the description so you can get the same image. Alright, so we're going to start by cutting her head out. Now, as always, there are hundreds of different ways to do this. I'm going to use the pen tool. Now that we've got our path complete, all I'm going to do is right or control click, make selection, go ahead and hit OK with a feather setting of 0, and drag this into our composition. Perfect. So we can go ahead and position her face like so. Let's get rid of this eye ring. I'm just going to use the clone stamp tool. Quick and easy fix. So we can right or control click, get a soft angled brush, and let's change the brush settings to about here. So now what we're going to do is alt click an area of skin that we can use to start to cover up the eye ring with the clone stamp tool. You're going to want to choose different shades from around the selected area so that we can just get a nice blend. As you can see, there's darker areas of skin versus lighter areas of skin. So just play around with it a little bit until you get that right mixture. No more eye ring. However, we still have her forehead to deal with, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use the pen tool to draw in an artificial forehead. And basically we're just going to fill it in with the clone stamp tool using areas of skin from her forehead and maybe from her cheek. So just draw in from the edge and go ahead and extend that out beyond the border of our composition and just get a nice forehead, as weird as that sounds. And close off your pen tool. Once you've got a good shape going, right click on the line and hit make selections. Alright, so from this point we're going to go over and grab our clone stamp tool, the same one we used to cover the eye ring. We're just going to take the size up so that we can cover a much wider area in less amount of time. And let's just begin to take some samples by alt clicking her forehead and begin to paint in our selection, our artificial forehead. So what we're going to do with our face layer, we're going to bring that down underneath the photo filter so that's active on top of it with it still selected. We're going to navigate over to our burn tool with a big brush radius, soft brush, and we're just going to burn in the bottom of her cheek and the top of her forehead just to bring in some darker tones back into her face. At this point in the tutorial, all that's left to do is bring in your typographic elements. And to do that, we just used the pen tool, scaled it down, and rotated the text using a different font every time. With the title, it was all drawn out using the pencil tool, and we have the subtitle down below. Alright, so that's really it in this simple Photoshop poster. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time. As always, you can find us on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, or follow us on Twitter.